Hey, we got in the stream already. Loon, what's up, Loon? Eric, what's up, Eric? Emilio, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another Wicked Wednesday. How's everybody doing today? We got 5 people. We can wait a little bit, let them join, or come on, people, we're doing a
whopping audience.
Yeah, there we go. We got 6 people now. Can you turn the volume on that one down? Thanks.
There you go.
Eric, you should definitely get that Wicked Thumb, bro. Let's wait till like 10 people join if it happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a fresh beer, man.
All righty. How's everybody's week going? Finally starting to warm up here in Delaware, guys. So I think tomorrow I'm going to be doing a Wicked Thumb. Either I might do like a ride on the beach with the Wicked Thumb and just show you guys how it handles, or I might do a full throttle range test. I'm not sure yet. And then tomorrow we're finally delivering our first hut that we sold in New Jersey. Anthony, that's good to hear, brother. All freshied up, bro. You good?
Yeah, man.
Awesome, man.
Dude, we took one of those rats and we put those Clubman bars on it, like Cafe Racer bars.
I saw that.
Man, it looks so sick, like the ride. Because, you know, they're out in front of the bike, basically.
Right.
And just low, so you're riding it like a sport bike, basically.
Yep.
And then cut that seat like all the way down.
Yeah,
it's pretty sick. So we're gonna be offering those Clubman bars here.
Oh, you are? Okay, it's gonna be on the website soon.
Yep.
Awesome.
So we just got to order in. So
what's up from Chicago? Awesome. We're going to be talking about a couple subjects today on e-bikes and things. I'm Shreddie, and over here is
I'm Wicked Ron. Wicked
yeah.
Thumb. Denton, Texas, baby.
So if you guys have any questions for us about bikes or anything that we're talking about, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll go through some comments here and there. But Wicked Ron, if you want to open it up for us today. Yeah, what's up, Shav?
So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Good to see you, Shred.
Good to see you too, brother.
Hell yeah, man. What did you do anything cool this week? Any good rides?
I took out the Wicked Thumb, the Super, and my Huck out on a ride with like 2 of my friends and took them around town. People were stopping us like crazy, as always, on these e-bikes. But, yes, so far the weather's starting to get nice this week. Like I said, tomorrow I might do I'm going to do a Wicked Thumb ride, but I don't know if I'm going to do a range test or a beach ride to show you guys how it handles on the sand, how really well it handles the sand, actually.
Yeah, those 26-inch, 4-inch tires, man.
It gets you through, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it'll fucking turn.
Yeah, I didn't even have to let any air out of the tires, too, which is pretty crazy. Like, I was like, I might have to let some air out of the tires. Next thing you know, I'm getting through, like, the deeper stuff. I'm like, what the hell? This is like easy on this bike. Big ass tires, nice treads.
Hell yeah, man.
Definitely a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, nice weather, man. Like it's been beautiful here the last, I don't know, 3-4 days. So hitting the 70s again.
No more ice.
So yeah, that week was crazy, dude. Like I was leaving the house today, taking my daughter to school, and we got this live oak tree, so it's green all year round. And I looked at it and I was like, man, that thing looks dead.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, like the hard freeze, like basically made it drop all its leaves.
Oh wow.
So I got a tree where in 2 weeks all the leaves have died and are falling off in the middle of March, basically.
Were the pipes okay at the shop? I know you said like they started freezing. Nothing burst.
There was a break, like one of the main lines into the whole facility broke, so they shut everything down for the whole week. But yeah, I initially came in and thought the pipes were frozen, but once I talked to the landlord, he was like, "Yeah, we had to shut it down." So
okay, awesome.
yeah,
So nothing,
everything's good, no damage. We had power.
Yeah, awesome.
It was great. We couldn't. There were 2 things that week that were like really insane, and it's the first time in my life that I didn't get postal delivery. Like we didn't get postal delivery once that week.
Oh wow.
You know, like it used to. No matter what would be going on, you get postal delivery. So nothing that week, and FedEx and UPS didn't come by once that week. So we couldn't ship anything out. We couldn't get anything in.
Damn.
So it was kind of cool. We got a lot of computer work and marketing and advertising and stuff like that.
Right.
Future order stuff kind of worked on. And then the following week, FedEx, and I came in, they picked up like 5:30 one day, and she told me she had 81 more stops after us that day.
Holy crap.
5:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
So, yeah, like a week of backlog, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, very rare for us here in Texas. But the whole point of it is, yeah, we got spring riding season coming up. I mean, for just about everybody, that's going to be April. Anywhere you are, even in the mountain towns, high elevation, by the end of April and into May, you'll be out enjoying spring weather, and we're gearing up for that.
Yep.
So excited to get everybody their new bikes, and the orders, start coming in like really heavy about 3 weeks ago or something like that. Everybody's learned their lessons from last year to where they went to stores, they couldn't get bikes, or online. Every e-bike manufacturer was 6 months back ordered, or so people are used to that now. They're trying to prepare for it, so they're coming in and they're ordering their bike 2 months in advance.
Getting ready for summer.
Yeah, so that's good. It spreads it out for us. And what sucks is then when everything gets in and we got 100 bikes to customize and do other crap, and we're trying to get them all out ASAP. It's an Adderall week.
An Adderall week. Nice.
So not for me, but
yeah, I feel like this summer is going to be crazy. Like when you really start to notice more e-bikes out in the wild, it's going to be a summer of a lot of e-bikes out. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's exciting for us and for any of the smaller kind of boutique e-bike brands. Is a lot of us now, we have a full summer, a full year, some 2, where we've got bikes out there and more people get to see them. And there's a lot of people that bought them over the winter and northern climates that didn't get to ride them. And now we're getting a bunch of those calls like, hey, like I bought it in October, November, haven't rode it, like what do I need to do to prepare it? So we're getting a lot of that stuff now too. But yeah, just the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And especially that's our whole brand, is enthusiasm and love of your bike and pride and want to show it off. And we're just stoked people are going to get to live that part of it.
Hell yeah.
After a shitty winter. So
what do you guys recommend to the people that ask like, hey, I'm up here, it's a winter, I'm not going to be riding much, like what should I do while it's sitting here not getting ridden for the next 2 months? Like what's the recommendation for that?
It's really just where you store it. So if you're in a cold climate, you basically want to, if you're storing your bike in a garage or something, just charge the battery maybe once a week, top it off. You can remove it if you want, but you don't need to. But other than that, it's just of course, we'd like everybody to be able to keep it indoors.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not lucky enough to do that. But if you keep it in your apartment, or a lot of people just keep it inside, they don't have to do anything.
Okay, cool.
And then just, you know, check your tires, you know, check your tire pressure. There's really not much that, you know, as long as you checked it before you put it away for the winter,
should be good.
You know, you're just going to want to do the basic stuff like that.
So like an empty battery is not a good battery to have. You want to at least have.
You shouldn't ever, you know, you don't ever want to run it all the way down or store it empty.
Yeah.
But for the, you know, as long as you've switched the power switch off on the bike itself, not the handlebar, but the you know, the power switch under the tank, as long as you shut that off, there's no drain on the battery. There's nothing. The battery management system is turned off at that point.
Okay.
So if you have that on, the battery management system is still always on, so it's checking things out.
Oh, cool.
Which has a real low voltage draw, but over, you know, a cold winter where that's going, it could deplete the battery pretty fast.
Okay.
So yeah, just top it off and, man, check your tires and make sure everything's beaded. So if you bought your bike over the winter, you might not have gone through and done all your kind of initial walkthrough on your bike. So you might want to do that again. If you hadn't gotten to ride it much, you might want to just bust the owner manual out and go through that and just go through some of the tips in there. We've got a blog post on our site about maintenance and getting started and all that type of stuff. So
awesome. Eric Roy, they do have saddlebags over there at Wicked Thumb. I don't know. Do you guys have saddlebags in stock right now, or are they?
Yeah, we've got pretty much always have the canvas ones in stock, the black ones. So we've got access to a whole bunch of saddlebags, primarily the ones we feature, the black canvas. We offer them in just all black or black with the red piping.
Okay.
Looks good with the red bike or the rat. And then we've got the leather bags with the diamond quilting on them. Like, that's our premium bag. Those are available in black with black stitching, black with white stitching, black with red stitching,
oh, awesome.
Black with blue stitching, black with orange. Basically every color we make a bike, we've coordinated with the manufacturer that we can order a bag that has stitching that matches the color of the bike. So you would have that contrast that would go with your bike. They're not all available on the website, but if you were to send us a note, and I guess I'll update it pretty soon, where there's just one bag and then it shows the options of
different colors.
All the different, yeah, but
yeah,
it's not something they actually stock, or it's a readily available product, so I don't have pictures of it. Okay. So it really takes somebody to order one, then we get it in, we take pictures, and we put it on the website.
Gotcha.
So, and then we got some brown ones that are going to be going up, brown leather ones here pretty soon. That really look cool. With some people like to do brown seat, brown grips, brown bags.
Yeah, that would look cool in the black.
Yeah. So, and they're just really functional. We got the fork bags too. Like, some people want to carry a charger with them. The charger's great, like putting it in the front fork bag. It fits perfect. So you were going to work, or you plan on going pretty long haul that day, that you could bring it with you, pull your bike somewhere and tap it off or top it off before you head home, or whatever you want to do. And then the saddlebags, you can get right and left. So if you want to carry a hoodie, lock, things like that, which we're going to get into security here in a minute, I guess.
Awesome. And for the saddlebags, they get mounted on the rear rack, right? Do you have to have the rear rack?
No, they actually mount right on the rear dropouts on the chainstays.
Oh, okay.
Just like a motorcycle would do.
Gotcha.
So they strap around. You got like that kind of Y shape in your chainstays.
Yep.
Like the rear, and it's tapered to the same exact shape. So 2 straps top, 2 on the bottom.
Awesome.
Yep. And then if you have the rack, the rack mounts bolts to the same chainstay, so you would do the same thing. You could either mount it, hang it off the rack if you wanted with the tops, or you can just mount it the same way off the chainstays.
Hey, thanks for the super chat, Loon. Hey, good to see you guys. Please check out the Bull E electric bike. It merges with a cafe racer. We'll check that out after I'm done here for sure. Thanks, Loon. Eric Roy, handlebars, they have a few different options now, right? I know you guys got the ape hangers, the regular cruisers, and you said earlier you put cafe racer bars on a bike today. That looked really cool.
Yeah, we're kind of, I mean, on the website, we just offer that you've got the cruiser bar, which is the stock bar, but then we've got the apes. Those are only two we have on the website. We're going to put the cafe racer bars up here soon.
Yeah.
We also have a mini ape. I mean, if you want to do something custom, you know, just contact us through the forum on the website or info@wickedelectricbikes.com and just, you know, ask your questions. We're a full distributor for basically every motorcycle part company and for every bicycle, you know, the two main U.S. bicycle part distributors. So we could get just about anything. It's just a matter of what will fit on the bike. And then, you know, obviously it's electric, so you got wiring. We use hydraulic brakes. There's a shifter. So some sizes require us to lengthen the brake lines, lengthen the shifter cable, splice and lengthen all the wiring and things like that. You know, you know, run everything through the frame, all the other stuff. So there's labor involved. That's why the apes are $400. You're paying for installation. So just dependent on the bar, some need a different stem size. But we can do pretty much everything. We've got a mini ape as well right now, a 9-inch.
That's awesome.
So
like you got the ones up here and then the ones
13 and then you can go to 9. Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, we could do anything custom. If you want a custom bike, just email us and, you know, let's talk through whatever ideas you have. We can do anything you want. Like, we really enjoy that part of it. Custom paint and wheels and everything. So you can really do just about anything you want. That's that frame platform and the hub motor just gives us so many options for just making really badass looking bikes. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's why we chose it. So, okay, buddy. So one of the big things that everybody making a big investment on an e-bike worries about is theft. You know, people messing around with their bike, and we want to spend a little time talking about security and things you can do to protect your bike. So, Shreddie, you got you're working with who is it? Invoxia?
Yep, I say Invoxia, but it could be Invoxia. I think they're French.
They're French, right?
Yeah. Invoxia.
Yeah, they're French, man. That what's the guy's name? The U.S. rep, is it David?
Dave, yeah.
Man, he called me today, and we were talking today, and he's got like this like awesome like James Bond like
right.
Rudy voice, man, right? He's got like this really exotic voice,
right?
And he likes to talk a lot. So
yeah, I agree.
It was, but yeah, we're trying to we're gonna get one tomorrow to start testing out with our bike. You've got the one that you've had for what, maybe a month now?
Yeah, about a month now. It's been awesome. It's been working really well. And then on my Huck, I've put it underneath the seat, and it's like covered by metal. They told me not to cover it with anything metal, but it still works. So I don't know. I still have to try it inside the Wicked Thumb where the battery is. I want to try it in there and see if I can strap it around to like something to keep it from falling.
So how's the accuracy of the GPS on that?
It's really good, and like it does leave like that little trail, so wherever the bike is going, you can freaking follow them like live. which is pretty cool.
What's the delay on that?
What's that?
What's the delay on that?
I think it scans every 5 minutes is the fastest you can do, but then you can, if you want to save more battery, do like every 20 minutes or every hour. Like it'll.
The 5 is the absolute quickest. So like if your bike got stolen, it would take you 5 minutes to be able to track it.
To be able to track it, yeah. So like what they need to do in the app, which would be cool if you could just arm the app, like boom, all right, it's staying still. It takes 5 minutes before it'll start, you know, telling you it's stationary, and then if somebody moves it, it'll tell you. But yeah, if they had something where you could like in the app to hit it and be like, all right, arm. Now if it moves, it'll send me something. It actually sends it to your iWatch too and your phone. So it sends you a little, you know, warning like, hey, your bike has been tilted, but like I said, you got to wait 5 minutes before it starts doing that.
I got you. Okay.
So you got to wait 5 months.
Yeah, that's yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out because we've got the boomerang one, and the main difference with the boomerang is it's actually got a built-in alarm.
Oh, okay.
So you can arm it, and then it'll, you know, if the bike's moved or tilted or jacked with, it sets the alarm off. It's not like something you're going to hear from away. It's more to just alert the thief or whoever's jacking with your shit to.
Right. Kind of scares them like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we got it in initially, and the customer service has been pretty good because we got it in and we tested it, and there were a couple of just major deal breakers for us. You know, if we're going to offer this to our customers, we're looking at doing it at point of purchase where, you know, we go ahead and we wire it into the bike and it's installed on the bike. Yeah. So it's not something somebody's going to buy and have to, you know, drill their frame or figure out how to mount it and figure out how to get power to it, right. Which is what we're looking with. The Invoxy is going to be a hard wire into our bike.
That would be awesome.
So it never needs to be charged. It's always got a power supply.
Yep.
But with the boomerang, we can do that. We can wire it. But it's got to be mounted. It's too bulky to be able to fit it inside the tank or somewhere else.
Does that have an app with it also, the boomerang?
Yeah, it works the same way. You arm the alarm from the app.
Oh, okay.
And so the two problems we had was the GPS was off by, you know, 300 feet, 500 feet.
Oh, okay.
And then it would take like 90 seconds from when you would arm the alarm from your app till it would actually arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know when you arm your bike, you're going to want to sit there and watch the thing to make sure it's armed. So, and then it was like, it wasn't always working. So sometimes you'd arm it and it wouldn't arm, but the app says it's armed, but it's not actually armed.
Oh, that's
so there's not like a communication between the two.
Right.
You know, so whenever we communicated to them, we're like, yeah, here's our findings. And they were already working on a lot of it, but they gave us a new firmware update like really quick to where now it's accurate. You know, the GPS is accurate to where we couldn't tell, you know. Like right. Before it would show that the bike was across the road at another building. And now it shows it's here. So there's updates constantly too. So a lot more refreshing. So
let me show you guys what I kind of when I go out and I know I'm leaving my bikes, I gotta use 2 locks. So one I'm keeping it in this bag here that I need to open really quick.
Yeah, so these GPS units, like the Invoxy, is not going to be a theft deterrent. Maybe we've got customers that put like armed with a GPS tracker. They put a sticker on their bike. But there's, I guess now it'll be cool because now we could actually have a GPS tracker in there. So the sticker is not just like a bluff.
Right.
So that'll be cool. we're hoping that's going to work. And then the other thing is that you really need to use a combination. I mean, that's kind of what all the studies show is if you have a combination of, like, say, this boomerang alarm, and the alarm goes off, and there's, a lock or two locks on the bike.
Yep.
That as soon as that alarm goes off from jacking with the bike, that, they're going to kind of just move along.
Exactly.
Unless they've been scouting your shit out for a long time and they really want it.
So if I know I'm staying somewhere.
They don't care. Yeah, so forget about it. Is that one?
Yep. Or the New Yorker.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah. So I use that. I'll put this around the frame and then like some kind of stationary object, and then I'll wrap this around the frame and the back hub.
Oh yeah,
back motor. That way.
Is that the 18 millimeter one, the heavy one?
Kryptonite Keeper. I don't know. I think it's a smaller, cheaper one, but it's just good to have.
Yeah.
These two and your
go through your seat. Like especially when we do our customs with these Brooks seats that are $200-something, and you can run it through the seat, through the rear wheel.
Yeah.
So we don't have. That's something we're working on the site now, but we're going to have a security section. It's going to have, a couple of U-locks and a couple of chain locks. We've got like the A-bus, like the
the folding,
the folding locks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've got those. So different configurations. And we're also looking at a disc lock. So like when you rent a motorcycle and stuff like that, a lot of them, they give you a disc lock.
Right.
And then the disc lock goes on the rotor, the brake rotor. So you put it on your rear wheel brake rotor, and then then it's got a chain built into it, or a cable built into it that you would wrap through the wheel and around the frame.
Okay.
So if you're running in to get a bagel or some shit like that, I mean, you could see your bike, but if you got to go in, yeah, I mean, you might just arm like your boomerang alarm and then throw the U-lock on or the chain lock.
Right.
Obviously, these things have weight to them. The more secure they are, the heavier they are.
Yep.
That kryptonite chain, like the heavier ones, like 8 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if you got saddlebags and a rack or stuff like that, that's stuff you can carry with you. Even with a rack, you can just kind of wrap it around there. So.
Yep.
But it's the combination of the two that's really the best deterrent.
Yeah.
So consider where you live, how long you're leaving it. If it's something that's in the same place at the same time, repeatedly, where a more advanced thief can scout it out. You're kind of petty thief or run-of-the-mill thief. They're looking for opportunity. They don't want to deal with the risk of getting caught. There's plenty of other fish of people who just don't even care to protect their stuff. So
right.
Anything you can do to protect your investment. You can also, there's a lot of companies that offer now e-bike insurance. So you can get insurance for theft, You start getting up to where you're spending, $4,000 or $5,000 on a bike. You might want to carry a policy for theft. I'm not sure. You can also check with your home insurance or renter's insurance agent. Call them up explicitly in advance and ask them if your e-bike would be covered from theft when you're out of your house. Because some policies do cover that.
We did it. It was like $340 for the year, and they covered up to like $10,000 in e-bikes. So definitely do that.
Yeah. So I mean, look at your investment. Look at where you live. Look at how you store your bike, your lifestyle, all that type of stuff. And there's a lot of options. We're gonna have a lot of options on our site here when our bikes hit in April for our 2021 models. So you'll be able to buy a point of purchase, and we'll have different packages that basically would be just reasserting whatever I just said. The advanced package and basic package and stuff like that.
Right.
And yep, looking forward to get the Invoxy in, test it out, and maybe even offer it as OEM. So
Yeah, so it comes with a year free, and after that, it's $40 a year. So can't beat that. You know.
yeah, that is the other thing. They run on 4G.
Yeah.
And they all have a GPS unit in it, and they I think they're 40. It's $390 a month or something like that, or 40 a year.
Yeah.
You get a little cost break for paying for the whole year.
Yep.
And then the Boomerang one's like, or that's the Boomerang cost is $390 a month, $40 a year.
Yeah.
And then the Invoxia is $40 a year, and the first year is free.
Yep.
So it's included in the price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome.
Let's see some of these questions. There's a lot of people have been talking.
Yeah, let's take some questions, man. Let me.
Yeah,
I gotta
see if
get
you
in
find
here.
anything on there.
Let's see. Dina, Shreddie needs a larger drink.
Yeah. Is that not big enough?
What is this? Is this Hooters? Florida. Okay, so I don't really see. 2021 models for me are coming out in April. You can pre-order now. Some of them, like the Rat, are just about sold out. We'll be shipping mid-April. I'm gonna get into a couple of things in a little bit, just about supply chain and logistics, and things that go on in the e-bike industry, and just so people have a better understanding of challenges that they might not be privy to, so that they order a bike and it gets delayed and all the other stuff, and they don't know why, like what's going on. And I just want to kind of give people an idea of just the chaos that's involved with some stuff, when you're shipping it halfway across the globe, and there's such a demand on component parts and all the other stuff. So we'll get to that in a little bit when we're kind of talking about our current events portion of the show. We wanted to talk about battery life a little bit. That's one of the other the biggest questions we get is, what affects the range of the battery? Like, why can't you tell me, you tell me it's going to do one bike says 75 miles, but I only get 20 when I actually get out there and do it. And how can it be so far off? Shreddie over there, he's rode basically every different type of bike, from the mopeds, the high performance 72 volt systems with 3,000 watt motors, down to you've rode mid drives.
I haven't tried a mid-drive.
You haven't tried a mid-drive? Okay.
Soon. But I've ridden lots of bikes.
Mid-drives get really good range.
Yeah.
And then the rear hubs, 500, 750s. 3,000, like your Huck, and the Super's got 2,000, right? Or is it 200? I can't remember.
It's a 2,000 watt peak, but it's a 1,200 watt motor, 2,000 watt peak. I haven't felt that 2,000 watt yet, though. Wait for that upgrade.
Yeah, so the couple of the bigger things, like obviously how you ride the bike is going to be the number one factor of like how many miles you can get out of a charge. So assuming your battery's maintained properly, so top it off after every ride if you can. That's good practice. It's like exercising the battery. Battery likes to draw down. You don't want to draw it down towards zero, because that's not good for it either. It puts strain on the entire system. It'd be like a stereo where you got these big ass speakers, but you can't send enough power to them. You can damage your speakers, because they're basically getting dirty power at that point. But yeah, good practice, ride to 50%, 40%, even 30%, get it home, charge it back up. But that's like, key. That's key right there. And like on our battery, like 600 to 800, and that's pretty standard. Like if you've got a good quality battery, like basically it uses Samsung cells or LG or Panasonic. You know, you don't want some no-name brand cells.
Right.
You know, so that's really the most important thing in your battery is the cells that are in it. So research that. But as long as you're using those things, just exercise the battery, and it's meant to, like on average, go 600 to 800 cycles. So if you charge that thing 600 to 800 times, you should still be getting 70% capacity.
Okay.
So on ours, that, you know, you're talking, that'd be like riding every day for 2 years.
Oh, damn.
So
that
you rode every other day for, you know, you get 3 or 4 years out of the battery if you took care of it.
I'm thinking about 3 or 4 years.
So
it's a good battery.
Yeah, I like for like heavy use, I would expect 2 years. And I think that goes across the board for any of the you know, quality e-bike batteries. So make sure they're using one of those 3 brands I mentioned.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand about range. It's like your weight affects it, where you're riding really affects it. Like I do a lot of range tests here in Delaware, but it's flat. It's not like if I was doing a range test in California in those hills. Some people are like, "Hey, man, I'm not getting that same range." I'm like, "Dude, I live somewhere that's really flat, so you're probably gonna get different range. I'm maybe heavier or lighter than you." So a lot of people don't understand that either. Like when I'm doing my range test videos, and I'm getting better range than them, they're like, "What the hell?" It's like, well,
yeah, exactly. I mean, climbing hills is obviously going to use more power, and a lot of people ask, like, you know, does pedaling recharge the battery? And the answer is no, but it takes so much strain off the battery every little bit.
Yep.
You know, it would be like the equivalent of driving a car, but having something help push your car. Like how much less gas you would have to give it to perform the same function. Think about a car. When's a car use the most gas? It's from stop to start. You know, it's from, you know, it's climbing hills.
Yeah.
It's in the wind. Okay. It would be on terrain that is not, like if you're on a smooth road, right? You got less resistance than being on like a chip seal or a dirt road or sand or stuff like that. There's more resistance.
Riding on.
So it's just basic things like that. Every little bit you pedal, and I'm not talking about like having to bust your ass. I'm just saying, just every little bit you pedal takes so much strain off that motor.
Takes that sag. What's the max weight the Wicked can carry?
We say like about 300 pounds is kind of what we're gearing. And the biggest factor on ours is really the with the 26-inch wheel, it's the spokes. So when you go to a smaller rim, like you can use thicker spokes. When you look at the Huck or Onyx or some of the motorcycle style bikes,
yeah,
they use basically a motorcycle wheel. So they've got a small wheel, you know, 16, 18-inch, 20-inch at the biggest, but and then they use motorcycle size spokes, like heavy gauge, like, you know, 6 gauge. We use a 12 gauge, which is basically the heaviest readily available spoke that we can get. So that's really kind of where our weight restriction comes on.
So you're good, Eric. You can ride it. He said he's 280 pounds. So
yeah, I had had a customer up here today, brought their bike in for their first service, and he's my age, 48. He had a heart attack 6 months ago.
Oh damn!
And he was like 300 pounds. He bought a bike a couple of months ago, and he's already dropped like 28 pounds just riding this thing every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the reason he couldn't ride a bike was because he lives in a real hilly area.
Right.
So he could go out and ride, but he couldn't get up the hills and stuff to get home. And and or just whatever, tough times, super hot day or whatever reason, like obviously the guy had a heart attack, so his heart wasn't super strong, still kind of, you know, rehabbing his heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's dropping weight and he's riding it every day, and he's using it to go ride, to play disc golf and just go to the driving range.
Hell
you
yeah.
know, things that he would have driven his car to do, you know?
Right. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's awesome. Yeah, people, we talked about this last week, how they're just kind of, I think you got to be you know, you're lazy to ride an e-bike, but no, every bit you pedal is not sitting on the couch, not sitting in your car.
Yep.
And it extends the range of the battery.
And you can go further, go more places.
Yeah, exactly.
One ride.
So those things really, even riding hills and stuff, like, you know, I've taken the bike up to Colorado and tested out on trails with hills and stuff. I'm not talking big climbs, but when you got up and down hills that are smaller, like, you can get more battery life out of it. Like if you time it properly, because you give it throttle coming out of the hill into the next hill,
yeah,
and then just pedal into the next hill, start giving it throttle as you're peaking over the next hill.
Right.
And, you know, I've got 70 miles.
That's crazy, dude.
Cruising around Colorado, and I was still at like 30%.
Wow.
So, I mean, you can get all kinds of, all over the board. It's just how you ride it. If you ride it like a motorcycle and you're just sitting there riding throttle, you're not going to get much. You might get 20 miles, 25.
The battery dies at 42 volts?
Yeah.
42, okay. I got to remember that for when I do my range test.
Yeah, I sent you a chart, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or I'll send it to you again.
Yeah, send it again.
So there's charts out there. I'll put one up on the website. But it kind of gives you an idea, because our screen does show you the voltage of the battery.
Yep.
Plus the, you know, the bar indicator. But always go after voltage. And it doesn't just apply to our battery. This applies to, like, any, say, 48 volt, 13.5, you know, series parallel battery. So if you got a bike that uses that, or it also has the other, you know, the other designs. So if you do 72 volts, if you do 36 volts.
Hey, Chad, are you talking about a Wicked Thumb bike? How do you change the modes on the display? I don't know what bike you're talking about, but they have like a thumb thing where you can switch on the different pedal assist modes between 1 and 5, or if you want to change it to 1 and 9, but I like keeping it 1 through 5. I don't know if that's what you meant, Chad.
Yeah, if you've got a Wicked Thumb bike, depends what screen you have. If you got our screen, our 2019 screen, for our initial bikes, you can just change it directly off the buttons on the handlebar. And then if you've got the newer bike with the 900 display, you go into the, you got to be able to stop, but you go into the menu, and the code to get into the menus in your user manual. You go into the menu and you go to mode, and you can change it from normal to eco to power. Those will obviously affect the range a little bit too.
Okay.
Like eco mode. So eco mode, like when you give it throttle or when you give it pedal assist, it knows whether you're at a stop. I mean, it reads basically how much resistance is on the motor, and it doesn't waste power. Just think about it, if you're climbing a hill or something and you're giving it full throttle, so you're basically burning electricity, because if you were giving it like half throttle, you're basically going to be going the same speed up the hill.
Yeah.
Right? So the eco mode won't burn as much energy like when you go open throttle and stuff like that. So the top speed will be lower though, but it's really the curve to how it supplies power. Like it's a more flattened curve.
Gotcha.
And then when you go power mode, it's a real steep curve.
So it's all the power going into.
So it doesn't necessarily send more power in total. It just gets to maximum power quicker.
Okay.
So you can change the modes in there. But really, the Bafang 750 motor, it's got a limitation on the turns in it, so it's limited to 28 miles per hour no matter what you do, and that's not something you can override in the controller. You would need to have a different controller and basically flash it, which would avoid your warranty and stuff like that. But
don't do that.
But people do it. Your warranty's up in a year.
Yeah.
Some people don't even care because they can order a new motor for $300 or whatever, that they're willing to go ahead and buy a bigger controller. We're not at that boat yet where we're gonna sell a bigger controller and a package to do that stuff, but
okay.
We've got Wicked Thumbs that's our bike, but we've also got good old Wicked Electric Bikes, which is a different entity that will be a dealer for Wicked Thumb, and they can do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, welcome to Wicked Electric.
So that'll be coming soon.
Yeah.
And they'll sell more than just Wicked Thumb.
Right on. So should we move on?
All kinds of accessories for all kinds of e-bikes, and that'll be fun. So,
any new colors coming out? They have a tan coming out. It's like a matte tan coming out for the Wicked. But like he said earlier, whatever colors you want to customize, like throw him the ideas that you guys want on a Wicked, and they'll definitely work with you.
Yeah, we got the matte desert tan coming out. It's the Jarhead edition. So that's like our next limited edition coming out.
That's
we'll start selling those in April. But yeah, it's pretty sick, man. I can't wait to get it in here and show people. But it's got a full suspension fork and sand tires and spring seat and really badass headlight on it. And that'll be $34.99 on that bad boy. Really sick bike and limited edition. So, and then we've got after that. This summer, we got a couple new colors we're going to try. So we're going to have a white, blacked out. And then we got this really funky, the Rio is one of our most popular bikes. That's the kind of classic, like hot rod Harley blue.
Yeah.
Like baby blue almost. With white contrasting on it. We've got a limited number of those for April. But then we're doing something similar style, just different color pattern. It's like an aqua, like a pearl, aqua pearl with white. So those will be available in July or June maybe.
This guy says, oh no, he said, sorry, I skipped him. Is it healthier for a battery to stay between 30 and 80 or to just top it off every time? Me, I top it off every time after each ride. So that's what I do. Yeah,
it's depending on your riding style. Obviously, you were asking earlier what you can do for the winter. You don't want to store your battery at 100% all the time. But if you're exercising it, riding it, charge it up to 100, draw it down, charge it up to 100. You don't want to leave your battery sitting on the charger for a month straight, our charger does have a trickle charge function in it. And obviously the battery management system speaks with the charger. So once it gets below like 95%, it'll tell the charger to send more juice. It'll charge it back up to 100, then it'll trickle down to 95. So you can't overcharge the battery is the key.
Okay.
It doesn't sit there when it's at 100 and keep sending juice at it. Once it gets to 100, it shuts off. When it drops to 95, it charges it back up to 100, cuts off. But I wouldn't recommend, like, if you're not riding your bike, to just leave it sitting on the charger all the time.
Yeah, you never know if the BMS will go bad or something. Next thing you know, it's over.
It's very true. I mean, that's something
that can happen.
Things go wrong. I mean, things go wrong. So, yeah.
I've seen some crazy battery fire or lithium-ion battery fires on YouTube. They're fun to watch.
We'll get into that in a second.
They do not go out. Eric Roy, I'm from the streets of Chicago. The streets of Chicago are rough. What tires do you offer? They have like regular street tires and then sand tires that I have on my bike are the sand tires. But I don't know what kind of tires I would have out.
I mean, if you're riding mostly urban, I would do the street tires.
Street tires.
We're kind of where are you doing most of your riding? Because you couldn't use any of the tires anywhere, but where are you doing most of your riding? We use the same size, 26 by 4.
Yep.
You're going to run about 20 PSI. You can run a little bit less if you want, if you're lighter. But if you're a big boy, run at 20. And get one of those Brooks seats with the quad springs on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can add a suspension fork if you really want. If you're going to be hitting manhole covers and potholes and a bunch of crap like that, I would recommend that's worth going to the suspension fork. And that's available on there. So if you're going to do that's what I would recommend for that environment, for the ultimate ride.
Right.
And you can get something like that for depending on which bike you're getting. I think the extra fork's like 400, and then what was the seat's like 200, and just between those two, it's like
super
just amazing difference. Yeah. So, and then of course you got code Shreddie 100 to get $100 off.
Yes, sir. That's what I was gonna go with next. There you go, Eric.
Speaking of, we did get an order for a Shreddie bike last night.
Oh yeah, somebody actually mentioned that on one of my last videos. That's cool. Which one did he get?
Last night, we got on that one. Let me pull it up.
Oh, you guys are gonna have the 500.
That's a destroyer with street tires, fenders, grill. Basically, your bike with street tires.
Awesome. Fell in love
going
with
to San Jose, California.
Oh hell yeah!
So,
that rules. That freaking rules.
Yep. So yeah,
Wicked Army.
Absolutely. We saw a ton of bikes in California. But yeah, so there you go, Eric. I mean, that's what I would do. Of course, budget comes in. You could always add the seat later. I would do the forks from the factory from here. If you're trying to prioritize, you could add the seat later. If you can swing it all, great. But urban cruiser, that would be like the ultimate, man. And I think you'd still be out the door somewhere around $3,500, $3,400. Even if I think apes. So if you're going with something totally pimp, just contact us before you order it, and we'll see what we can do for you.
2021 models, do they all have suspension forks?
No, absolutely not.
So that's an upgrade for you.
No, that's an upgrade. Yep.
So I wanted to.
Yeah, because we get into a situation where, just as a business, we look at, what's our entry point? We got to keep the entry point to where, people that, we're not giving bikes away, obviously, but where people that don't need all kinds of features aren't forced to pay for them. Right. And you don't have to have the suspension fork by any means. The bike's great without it. But, having rode both of them, that's really the differences, man. If you're riding it in the street and you live in a city, I would recommend a suspension fork. If you live in a nice suburb with newer roads, warmer weather, I would say it's a waste. If you're just cruising around the nice, clean streets they're not torn up from winter weather and trucks and all the other stuff. Bike paths. Just think about where you're going to be riding it. So, But the suspension fork does make a huge difference when it comes to going over things like that, railroad tracks, real shitty roads, potholes, grooved roads. If you're going through construction shit, it does make a big difference. Manhole covers.
I ride mine through the grass like crazy, and that seat that it comes with it's amazing, dude. Like,
yeah, it is, man. It is, and
suspension
you're a lighter dude, man. You go like $140 on a wet day.
Hell yeah.
So, but for us bigger guys, man, like, yeah, that's what I'm recommending for a bigger guy. I think Eric said he was 280, right?
280, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just my recommendation, Eric.
Yep.
But give us a call, or email us, and we're happy to talk through stuff. And we want you to be stoked about your bike, man. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so we're good on battery life, security. Any other quick questions on batteries?
Yatu, what's up? Definitely got to come out to Delaware, brother. Any questions on the batteries, guys, or anything else that we talked about? You can move on to the next thing if you want.
Cool, man. You sent me a couple of news articles this past couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to ask you about, what your thoughts on this was about Monday motorbikes, if that's what you want to move to next. So I was on Reddit last week, reading through the Super 73 page, and this thing popped up. So somebody is doing like a change, like wants people to sign a petition on Monday motorbikes. So let me read like some of it. I get. Let me see. It's not too long. I can read it. So prior to the release of Monday Motorbike's newest line of motorbikes in September 2020, early bird backers were offered a pre-sale discount on the Anza motorbike. The Anza came in two motor options, a 500 watt and a 750 watt. According to Monday Motorbike's website, on September 2020, the 500 watt model was listed with a 11.6 amp hour battery with a speed of 20 miles per hour, while the 750 was listed at 48 volt, 14 amp hour battery with a top speed of 35, which sounds crazy for a 750 watt bike. 500 watt bikes were listed at 1,200 pre-sale. 750s were listed at 1,999 pre-sale. After the early bird of pre-sale had ended, Monday Motorbikes updated their website specs for the 750 and reduced its top speed down to 28 with no notification to the early bird backers. All other bike specs for the 500 and the 750 remained the same. On the day of release, as the backers began to receive their bikes, the 750 watts not only had a max speed of 15 miles an hour, but were being delivered with 11.6 amp hour battery instead of the advertised 14 amp hour battery. Concerned customers reach out to Monday to get the bikes back to max speed of 20, 15 miles an hour slower than their advertised speed in September. As of 3/2/21, there is no ETA if and when they're going to be running at their advertised speeds. There has been no comment on the falsely advertised battery sent to the customers. People, they said they want offer partial refunds of 40% of the price, nothing less, or send the appropriate parts needed to the customers for free. And what do you think? What could cause something like this to happen, especially with the batteries first? Like, why would they get smaller batteries?
I mean, you said this started last April. Was when the pre-sales started, or the Kickstarter, or whatever they were going off of.
Monday Motorbikes website in September 2020. That's when they listed it. Yeah.
Okay.
September.
And they still haven't. Okay. So, I mean, there's the one thing I've learned right now is like anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's always like different shit goes wrong. Like every time we're gearing up for an order, there's something that goes wrong. And then sometimes it's just one thing and everything goes through, or it's two, or we can find a workaround, or you know, like I said, we work with just a great factory, so we don't tend to run into issues where what we ordered we can't get, but we do sometimes. You know, like we couldn't get any white wall tires.
Yeah.
About half the bikes we sell are white wall tires. And even though we ordered them back in September, when the time came in January, when the tire order came, the tire manufacturer said, you know, we're too slammed and behind on making black tires, which is what everybody else orders, that we just decided we don't have the time to make white tires right now.
Wow.
And what are you going to do? What's your leverage with them? What are you going to tell them?
Can't do anything.
Nothing.
Yeah, you got to take what you.
So, you know, I jumped through some hoops and shake some cages, and I couldn't get anything done with my manufacturer. Couldn't get anything done with the tire manufacturer. But I basically contacted the export division for my supplier of tires and asked them. And then whoever I got, the U.S. rep who sells to my distributor over here, so I can get them from my distributor. It's not a tire they carry, but he was willing to, he's like, we can get tires and send them to your distributor, but it won't be till March. So way after the point of manufacture. Yeah. But it was at least something like, okay, at least we can get them. Well, then I came in and basically negotiated a deal where, you know, we could get those tires in the container that we have coming with the bike. So, because the cost to ship, you know, 150 tires, like not in a container. You know, when you ship a whole container, it's one rate to ship the whole container. Okay. So if you got room and you can get, but think about sending 150 tires, like this bulk and weight, to send those just in a separate package to the U.S.
That's crazy.
You know, thousands of dollars. So, but we were able to backdoor it to where they couldn't make them for us. But after he looked at our website, looked at our bikes, that was basically what did it. He looked at our bikes, and I had threatened to go to another tire supplier. Yeah. We'll start using another tire supplier. And he's like, well, let me see what I can do. And he's like, okay, I got a customer that I can pull some tires off their order because it's their order's not shipping for another couple of months, and I'll figure it out then. And they got us our tires.
That's cool.
So they won't come on our bikes, but we'll do it here, right? We change tires all the time. So so things like that happen, and it's just how, to what extent is the, you know, the company here you're dealing with, the brand you're dealing with, what extent are they willing to go to deal with these supply problems, because they happen all the time. Yeah. They might just work with a manufacturer who has no clout. That's the other thing. You better work with a manufacturer that they have a good relationship with their suppliers. The owner of the factory I work with, he's wining and dining those suppliers all the time. Yeah. To try to maintain his supplies. The biggest constraints have really been brakes and frames.
Oh, okay.
Those have really been the two things that have caused a lot of delays. And it's because, you know, for us, we're a small guy, and companies like Rad Power. What kind of brakes are on that Super 73? Are they Tektro?
Tektro. Hey, D, can you turn that down, please? I think she's watching our stream, and I'm kind of hearing it in reverse.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Yeah, they're Tektro brakes.
Okay.
I was thinking the motor or the hub motors would be hard to get, but I guess not.
No, Bafang's like $20 billion company right now, man. They're cranking them out, man. But like last week, my factory called me, and like, okay, so there's a new supply constraint coming up, and it's on the cells and the batteries. Oh. You know. So different cells have different outputs and act in different ways. And I said we use Samsung, but our battery is proprietary, so it's designed around a certain cell, and it fits in there, and it's maximized to fit 65 cells. Well, we get the highest capacity cell for the size we use. Well, there's now a big push where companies were doing 11.6 and 14 amp hour batteries and all that type of stuff, while we're doing a 17.5. That's where they were cutting costs, offering a smaller battery. Because not everybody needs a 17.5 amp hour. Right. Or people buy a bike because, we could do a 14 amp hour battery and we could advertise our bike for $300 cheaper. And if you see it on Google, and you see it's $300 cheaper, you'd be like, oh shit. Even though by the time you finish checking out, you've upgraded the battery and spent the same amount. Right. You got sucked in by the cheaper price, right? Yep. That's how shopping works.
Yeah.
But we don't fuck around with that, man. We're just like, we're giving the biggest battery we can, man. Like, you don't want a smaller battery. We know better about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna offer a bike that has a smaller battery for people who truly do not need anything like that.
Yeah.
And we'll have that in April. But ultimately, so now companies are going that direction where, range is becoming a competitive sales point. So the bigger suppliers are locking up future supplies of the largest cells, same ones we use. So we're going to have to deal with that issue. So that could lead to an event like you were talking about with Monday on their battery stuff, but it shouldn't have happened last year based on my experience.
Yeah.
Unless they really worked with just poor suppliers.
Bad company, yeah.
And that's what happens is like your vetting process has to be really good. Like, you've got to really trust who you're working with.
Right.
And have a good, we've got a great manufacturer's rep we work with that really goes to, both ends or all ends of the earth to make sure every problem we have that he can do everything he can. Some things are just out of our control. Shipping, things just happen, things occur, but to me, that would just scream two things. And it's really, they didn't actually have the product. They sold a product they never had. And they ordered something off of basically representations or parts that maybe they got a part for a test model, a prototype, but when it came to time to production, it was just a completely new bike.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. Like, if you remember last time we talked, I told you one of the biggest reasons that we wanted to go with a bike that had actually been built before, and test it out was so that we knew all this stuff we wouldn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, cool, we built this badass bike with these parts. We're going to start selling it. And we go and we think we got to manufacture and get all the parts. But then they're like, well, yeah, we can't get that controller. We can't get this. And we got to substitute it out. We just wanted to have something that we didn't have to deal with this shit.
Right.
We wanted to just really, the worst case scenario, what we're dealing with is delays, which we're always going to probably be dealing with until we can ever get to a point where we can have more supply than we're selling. Just growing pains, basically. But so I just think it's those two things, probably.
But they could have been promised something from their supplier, and next thing you know, when all this stuff comes in, it's not even the same.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna rule out that they were just being. We're gonna rule out the possibility that they were just, full of shit.
Right. Exactly.
We're gonna go off of what logically could happen in the industry. And then, kind of the other thing is that there's a lot of pressure. It looks like they wanted to make a big splash, especially when you do these Kickstarters or Indiegogos or things like that. You're really looking to move units, and we didn't do it that way. We were like, hey, you know, we're going to start small. We're going to make sure shit's good, work out issues. We weren't under any type of pressure to be at a certain point at a certain time.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing it for, you know, like more genuine reasons. It was just, we just literally just, you know, loved it, man. It was like all the potential and all the crap that we could do with these bikes was just, that was the primo number one factor.
Yeah.
And if you start a business that way, if you pick something that has the potential to do well and make a lot of money, or, you know, give you a lot of freedom, or whatever your goals are, if you pick something with that potential, you should never have to think about that part of it. You just go do all the things that, you know, that you believe in, and do that stuff and do it that way. And if you're just trying to jump into something to make money,
just get that
and
quick.
you have no interest in it, I mean, that's the type of shit that can happen because you don't think like an owner of a bike. You know, I think like an owner of a bike,
Right.
Like all the shit I want on my bike, and like the type of stuff that I will put up with, that, you know, like scenarios that occur that I would be like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You know, versus the stuff you're talking about, I wouldn't be cool with that at all. You know, we don't misadvertise. Shit can happen though.
Yeah.
You know, you got to bust your ass to, you know, if the worst thing I had to worry about is tires or things being late. I hate delivering bikes late. Puts a lot of strain on everybody. But things happen when you're coming halfway across the globe, and there's so much demand, and people fighting for the parts, people fighting for the shipping containers. Regulation is changing as the industry grows. You were talking about fires before. China changed their e-bike shipping regulations, where now things have to be declared as dangerous goods, and we had to get a bunch of new certifications and rebook stuff, and so that caused delays. But you know, it puts stress on us, but it's also stuff that's out of your control. You know, I would rather have stuff like that happen, where, you know, people, they might have to wait a little longer to get their bike, and if they don't really want to wait, they cancel. Then kind of misrepresent stuff, and just have stuff like that. Like more, they're dealing with way bigger problems than Wicked Thumb is dealing with. You know, having that type of negative publicity out there.
A bad start for their new bikes coming out this year.
Yeah, and a lot of those companies, they don't just care. It's like, just get the money, and figure out how to deal with it, figure out how to keep the money, figure out how to, I mean, that's unfortunately how business works. It'll, you know, a lot of industries right now is, you know, just get the money in and then figure out how to not give it back.
Right.
So, but that's not the way we do shit. So, there is one other bullet point on that I want to talk about. So, like, just the fact that somebody went out and created a petition on that, it does a couple of things. You know, maybe it brings some negative press around that particular brand, but it also brings it around the e-bike industry.
Yeah.
Because so much of it is pre-order right now. So many of these companies, they're starting off, they're starting off with a new bike, or they're starting off, they need to do the pre-orders to actually pay for the bikes. That's something that happens in the industry too, is pre-order is almost like when you do it Kickstarter, Indiegogo, you don't have the money to start that business.
Right.
You're doing that to raise capital, basically, to actually get the business going. You know, so in that case, they probably had a certain number they needed to get to. And like I said, once again, combination of factors, but there's just a lot of pressure financially, it sounds like. And then maybe some poor partners, poor decisions. Maybe just poor anticipation, thinking everything's going to go smooth.
Right.
You know, and in our situation, no, nothing has gone smooth, but we didn't ever start with that business strategy. So we didn't ever have those problems.
What I think Monday should have done is when they found out that their bikes are coming with the small, smaller batteries and definitely not going as fast as they said they were going to go, like tell their early backers, hey guys, we got the bikes in, but just so you know, batteries are smaller. We don't have the top speed that we told you before, but we're going to send you an update that's going to get you up a little bit faster, which what they're saying right now. But they should have came out and said something instead of handing out the bikes to people like, here you go, just take it. Like, oh, what the hell? I'd be pissed off if I was a customer early backer of the bike and I get that and things going 15 miles an hour with a super small battery. I wouldn't be a happy camper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see I never saw the the early backer like fine print and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, there could
be details, and people are going off of bullet points. There could be fine line print in there too.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't want to necessarily. I mean, customer service is everything.
Yeah.
If you want staying power, but yeah, I haven't seen all the details around. I'm just trying to get to like why I think
all that stuff is going on.
Things didn't go the way, but yeah, it could be everything from like they never really intended it to be that way, which we're going to rule that out to just a combination of the other things I talked about. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. You got some other story about Vancouver, British Columbia, and how they had kind of banned, or not bans, but they changed the regulations around e-bikes to where if an e-bike looks like a motorcycle or a ride-on scooter or something like that, that they would no longer be considered e-bikes, and you'd have to register them, insure them, have a license, all that stuff.
Yep. So they're starting to crack down on that in BC. And what I'm thinking is that's going to happen with like the Huck and like the bikes around here, like Onyx, what else that we always see on the streets, Surons, stuff like that. I feel like those bikes are going to be, we're on the borderline. They're going to start cracking down on us here in the States a little bit more because we are pretty much a motorcycle riding on a bike path. So I was seeing that they're cracking down on that there, and I just feel like it's going to happen here in no time.
It's responsibility of riders, right? I mean, so those for the most part they're basically motorcycles.
Yep.
They're not electric bikes at all. They just put pedals on them to. It's like putting tits on a giraffe.
Right.
Right. It was one of my dad's favorite sayings when I was growing up. But they put it on there to get around loopholes so they could be classified as an e-bike. And the key point I got out of that court ruling in British Columbia, it was actually an appeals court, so lower court had the same opinion, but is that if the primary purpose of the bike is not to be powered by a human, and that pedals are just kind of on there, it's the intent that it's not a bike. It's not a bicycle. And right. Yeah, you will definitely, and it will be states like California and New York and Florida probably, and states that have a lot more bikes out there. And it's going to take somebody getting hurt, unfortunately.
Yep.
And that's going to bring it to a peak where then the wheels are set in motion for that. But yeah, you can still ride them on the road and stuff like that. And I said, the last time we talked about, going over 20 miles per hour and stuff like that. You can ride on the paths and bike lanes and do all that type of stuff. But it's when you exceed that. So
this is a good one. He said, what is that? Theo said, hopefully they don't limit the motors to 250 watts like in Europe. That would suck, dude. Imagine if they did that. Like they started regulating our motors or, you know, if you have a bigger motor than 250, then you got to have this special license to ride around on an e-bike. Like, I just hope that never happens.
I mean, there's a national, you know, there's been a national e-bike law in for a long time that basically says they can't restrict, as long as it's under 20 miles per hour, that no local government can tell you can't ride it on the street.
Okay.
So unless Congress at the national level were to change that, then it can't be any more restrictive. So, but yeah, like the EU, I mean, so, you know, we're going into a couple of countries in Asia right now that have very strict requirements, even stricter than the EU. And we had to do some crazy stuff to get bikes that would pass their testing.
Oh, really?
But, and then at the same time, remember our bike, like those big ass wheels, like a 250 watt motor, like to start that bike. I mean, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we were limited to a 250 watt motor, and we had to do some creative stuff to, you know, to get it to where it would, you know, meet the, or at least pass the local inspection and build a bike for that. It's nowhere. It's not going to be anywhere near as fun.
Yeah. Oh, so
your 750, but it's still going to look pretty sick.
Oh yeah, badass.
But
what's the top speed over there? Like what, 15?
14 miles an hour.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
And the power curve needs to start dropping once you get to 6 miles an hour. So once you get to 6 miles an hour, no throttles, pedal assist only. Once you get to 6 miles an hour, the battery's got to start doing a decrease of the power it offers till it gets to 14, and there's none.
Wow, that's insane.
Insane, man.
Wow.
So you get a little burst to get up to 6, and then after that, the motor starts dropping power until it gets to 14.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep. And those bikes will sell for $1,000 or more than we sell them here for a full one, you know?
Holy crap.
Yeah, crazy.
That's insane. That is insane.
But yeah, I'll get to announce all the details on that maybe in the next month. Maybe the next 2 weeks, but that'll be huge. That's going to be huge for us. We got a really awesome partner and really excited about how that's going to go down.
Awesome.
Okay, so other than that, I mean,
I think you were going to talk about the like investors in e-bike companies.
Oh yeah, so
Rad
I
Power.
got kind of, yeah, there's been like Rad Power just got 150 million investment, and you saying Super got 20
million. Yeah.
Juice, did you have Juiced on there too?
I don't know if Juice got money. I'm sure they did.
But yeah, so now you're going that direction, and it's like, man, what do those companies do with that money? And it's going to make things really interesting for the smaller bike companies. You know, barriers to entry to get into the e-bike market were pretty low up to about a year ago, but now they're getting like, it's going to be really difficult to start a new e-bike company without a lot of money. And it's because of stuff like this, like you get an investment like that, they can go back to all the things we were talking about earlier, like supply chain, component manufacturers, say that are capped out, like they don't have capacity to grow to meet more demand. Well, you get $150 million, you can go back to your brake company and say, hey, we're going to pay for 3 new brake assembly lines, a new facility, all this type of stuff, but we're going to basically pay for the next 18 months of brakes up front. Well, I mean, that has a trickle down effect to all the smaller companies. Yeah. You know, like Wicked Thumb and plenty of others, but to where it's like, hey, all of a sudden, like now, things we were talking about earlier with like a startup, maybe not picking the best manufacturing partner, not having good supply contracts, whatever. Like now, companies that do have decent ones that are smaller, they might get squeezed out to where they might have to switch components. not use the same components they've been using.
Maybe something cheaper.
Yeah. So that's on one side. That's the type of stuff they can do with that money. Obviously, they can expand other international markets and things like that. You know, come in open. Rad's strictly a direct-to-customer business.
Yeah.
And they sold over 100,000 bikes last year. But yeah, like internationally, you have extra money to go in to lobby and make things more difficult, anti-competitive. You know, we try to keep things competitive in the U.S., but countries like China, they don't really care about competition, man. It's you can go in there and with money and other things, you can go in there and basically crack down on things that make it difficult identify the things that make it difficult on smaller businesses and make things even more difficult on them, you know, to lock up and gain more market share. So that's the direction you're going to start seeing now with e-bikes, is it's going to start to become more where there was all kinds of market share out there for grabs. Now it's going to be more like strategic and how to steal and take away market share and lock up future market share. It's a massive investment. $150 million.
That's insane. Yeah. And then that's like nothing to Super 70 or Super 73's 20 million is nothing compared to that 150 million. Holy crap.
Yeah, but even 20 million, like if you're talking about
a lot of money,
just building a new factory or something. I mean, there's the other big thing too, is that the tariffs right now are kicked in, and there's a 25 to 28% tariff on every e-bike coming in from China. So prices are going to start going up. When you get money like that, that's the type of money where you can go and open a factory in Vietnam, or like Pedigo did that. They moved to Vietnam or Cambodia or somewhere like that. But you can get to where, I mean, the Chinese are still going to run the factory. It's just going to be in another country with probably less skilled labor.
Yeah.
And the quality, there might be a dip in quality. But they'll be able to start moving shit out because they can go and give that money to basically fund a new factory to get it out of China, where then they save, $250 to $500 a bike in tariffs. Wow. Think if you're selling 100,000 bikes, paying $250 a piece tariff, how much money that is. That's wasted.
Yeah.
And to try to grab market share, you're absorbing that tariff. You're not increasing the price for it as the big guy. You're putting pressure on the little guy to basically foot the bill on a tariff rather than increase the price. Because if the big guys increase the price, then the little guys can increase it too.
Right.
But if the big guys absorb that tariff hit and the little guys can't, then yeah, that's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, big money coming into e-bikes. It's going to be massive, man. It's going to be massive. So, like all the people getting into it, it's like plasma televisions. We were talking about tube TVs around the shop earlier today. Somebody brought like this old ass RV and had a tube TV. It was that like type of change. Like the tube TV was like a bicycle, and the flat screen TV is like an e-bike. So lighter, more efficient, much better colors, and uses less energy. I mean, just everything. So very expensive at first, but then cheaper in the long run. So
do you think a lot of like smaller e-bike companies, the prices are going to go up a little bit this year because of that tariff?
I would think by the end, it's going to be two ways. It's really going to be like the big boys. The big boys, I think, are going to try to absorb it, and they're going to use that as leverage to drive out smaller companies that are trying to compete on price.
Right.
We don't try to compete on price. We have a premium product, a specialized product, an elite product. I'm not trying to compete on price. I got to make it to where people are going to buy it, but my business model is not based on, trying to meet razor thin margins. It's trying to get people who want a premium product. Rad is it's a less expensive price point. I mean, you can get a Rad for $1,100.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really pushing an entry level product. Nothing really spectacular about it, but the bulk of people don't need anything spectacular. We're going after the person who wants to make a statement, who wants something unique, who wants people to look at their bike and be like, "Damn, dude.
Yeah, that thing is bad."
Oh, man. Yep, that thing is sick.
So Charlie said,
"Where did you get that thing?"
He said it sucks that factories can't be built here. Do you think with all this stuff going on that we'll be getting more factories built in the U.S. because of all this?
Man, I think the key comes down to the components. Like if the component manufacturers are not going to build here, you got to remember e-bikes are a global business. So bikes, these factories in China, like they don't care about like how many bikes they're selling in America. It's an opportunity to sell bikes, but they're slinging so many bikes everywhere else that, so for the component companies that come here just to satisfy the American market, to pay so much more money to make their stuff. And like for things like the motors and the batteries, like we don't have the rare earth metals and the raw materials here to even make them. And then like countries like China that have them, they have bans on exporting them. They only allow them to be used internally. So yeah, maybe if technology changes in the future, otherwise, I mean, it's just, China, it's just the way they do business. They sell, like they can sell at a premium in other countries, but when they want to gain market share in America, the government will subsidize, like against your profits in other countries. They will give you subsidies, tax credits, and other benefits to be able to sell your product cheaper in America, where you might make hardly any margin, to gain that market share. So, yeah, it's really interesting. I've learned a lot about like the way that whole culture works on stuff. And like here, it's different. Everything's about money here. In China, it's not about making everyone like our handful of people as rich as possible. It's ultimately to their whole, like what benefits our whole society the most, for the future too. So here it's more about like who's got the most money and can create laws and red tape to make it harder on other people so they can make more money.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way our government works. Our government doesn't really care about like what I'm doing, because I'm not going to them saying, hey, I'm going to do this for you and I need you to do this for me.
Right.
So,
hey, D, can you grab me that charger?
I think those are some of the differences. But yeah, like if component manufacturers were to start building stuff here, and it's possible with the tariffs and just explosion of e-bikes that could happen, but I just don't see the push from the big guys. The big guys are, rather than move from China to America, they're just going to move it to another country.
Right.
In Asia. They're not going to move it to America. So
we probably won't see that for a long time.
Yeah, so then you're just importing the parts and assembling it here, and it's way more expensive to do it that way. To import all the parts, and I mean, when you deal with a manufacturer who builds for hundreds of, not necessarily hundreds, but they build hundreds of thousands of bikes in a year across all their customers. The prices they get on components is like, way cheaper and they got guaranteed supply. And then you go like, and you're like, hey, I want to buy 500 sets of brakes this year. And they're like, well, okay, we'll sell you 500, but it's going to be this amount of money. And then you got to get it there. You got to have someone to consolidate everything. So now you need a team in China to handle all this crap. And what are you really gaining from that?
Right.
Because you're going to get those parts and they're all going to get shipped here, and then you're going to put the bike here together. I mean, if you have a good partner, the quality, people give China a bad rap, because of the past and because of knockoffs and stuff. But no, I mean, like if you deal with the right partner, man, the quality of the shit they do is, I mean, it's on point. It would be better than the quality you would get here, I think.
Right.
I think it's just, it was kind of like Japanese cars in the 80s and 90s. American cars were horse shit in the 80s. And it's because our manufacturing techniques and all the other stuff and unions and all the other stuff that get involved. Just at that time, like things had regressed, and the Japanese had new methods and really pioneered manufacturing. And then we adopted a lot of those policies back here. And, our cars got better quality again. So I think it's kind of that type of thing. There would be some growing pains to come here and start building bikes. And you would basically have to bring Chinese here to run your shit for you anyway.
Right.
To train your people, and everything would be more expensive, and people don't want to pay more. Electric bikes are already expensive.
Yeah.
Like if you can get a quality bike, like if you had to get a quality bike and pay 50% more for it. So. Oh, man. So, I mean, we can do stuff here like, you can get like accessory type stuff. I mean, you could have rotors made. You could have them CNC cut or stamped. But, I mean, there's minimums. There's tooling expense. So, like I said, same thing. If you're a smaller manufacturer, and you're not moving large volume, like you'll never meet the volume that would be required to pay for the tooling and the design and all the other stuff to where you're getting even the same quality at anywhere near the same price. We had talked to frame manufacturers and like what it would cost us to get each frame made, ordering, especially when we started, like, okay, we want 50 frames or 100 frames. That's all we want to start with to make sure this is going to work out. Right. Like, they're like, okay, we could do it, but it's going to be $100,000 or to design it I mean, the tubing doesn't exist here for a lot of the crap we did.
Yeah. Like
the tubing is not made in America. So you'd have to import the tube shapes anyway. And then maybe you can cut them here. I mean, they're not even bent, they're extruded. So
that's crazy.
It just depends what you're trying to do. Yeah.
It's crazy how much we rely on China. Like if we didn't have them.
Yeah. And like from my perspective, it's like, okay, like why? I mean, like it's cool. Yeah. You can like if you want a one-off custom and stuff like that, but like, why do we need to be building plastic toys in America? And like, why do we need to be doing that type of shit? Like why we should be focusing on like more important stuff. Like anything you can buy on Walmart, why do we need to make that in America? Like, what's the benefit? What's the point? Right. There's certain things that are survivalist and very important to have your own supply of, and we should do that stuff here, but things that are just generic and disposable, like why do we need to make that here?
Yeah.
It's going to be all made by robots in 10, 20 years anyway. So like, what would be the point to come make all that investment to have all the pollution and all the other crap to make bowls and spoons and ironing boards and like anything you can think of? Like, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's great. They want to do that. that's awesome. And it's awesome that people that don't have a lot of money can not have to spend all their money just to have basic necessities like bowls and spoons and drinkware and sheets for their bed. Like they can actually buy it cheap and have money left over to go on a vacation this year, put gas in their car. I mean, you got to remember the majority of people in America are not, I mean, they don't have a lot of extra disposable income. So like why, I mean, that's why that all emerged that way.
Right.
To get people stuff that like, yeah, why do you need to be overpaying for that type of stuff? And if you're rich, sure, and or if you got disposable income and you want to buy something that's custom made in America, yeah, the economics of it and capitalism will take control, and businesses will start if there's money to be made. So if there's money to be made in brake components in America, somebody will start that.
Yep.
Somebody will start that business. So that's the great thing about capitalism. It's also the great thing about having different countries in the world that do different things and have different systems is as a capitalist, you have a global market. Yeah. And way before there was capitalism and way before there was America, there was trade routes from Europe and South America and everywhere back to China, India, all those countries. There were always trade routes. There were always things they had. And nobody was ever back then saying like, oh man, you can't buy that from China.
Right.
Or you can't buy that from India. Or what are you doing? The British were sending India Pale Ales over to China with their guys. And now it's like, I'm just drinking one right here.
Oh, hell yeah. Haze? Is that haze?
Hazy IPAs, man.
Oh,
I love them. That's Sierra Nevada.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm getting on a rant now just about Chinese stuff, but there are a lot of fucked up things in that country.
Lots of slave labor.
But you're not. No, I don't. Yeah, like I mean, that's kind of a misnomer. I think there's probably some spots, but anybody legitimate, no. The way the Chinese government works is they like if you're middle class, like the Chinese government gives you. I mean, you get like money for housing, education, all that type of stuff. You get some type of stipend. Mm-hmm. And then you can go work whatever job you kind of want. You don't get paid a ton, but you're not living like a pauper. You're living middle class between what the government over there gives you. And they have no debt either.
Yeah.
So if they can give all that money out and they have no debt, I mean, but they do definitely have some messed up laws. They're nowhere near as free as we are. Mm-hmm. But we're not like necessarily supporting like horrible stuff by buying stuff from China. Like I guarantee you, if we stopped buying everything from China, the Chinese wouldn't be like, oh, let's stop doing all this stuff so they buy from us again. No, they basically say, fuck off, let's sell to somebody else.
They're still making their money elsewhere.
Yeah. We have this, I love this country, but one of our flaws is we think we're better than everybody in the world. And that's one of those situations. It's like, nah, man, the world is what the world is. And you got to work within the world and you got to fix things where you can fix them and stand up for things where you can stand up for them. But you can't just deny the world you live in and say like, oh, it should be this way. And it's not this way, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm getting on a political tangent right now.
He said Ron for president. Wicked Ron for president.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any other questions here? Yeah, we just don't have a ton of lithium, and I don't know that we want to mine lithium in America. There's a question on that.
Why is that?
It's just nasty, right? It's not. I mean, it's like any type of mining for the most part. So, like my take on lithium is that lithium is not the future. Lithium is just like we were talking about TVs earlier. Tube TVs. Think about how many of those are sitting in landfills. Like the disposal process. You can't just put them on the curb and throw them away.
Right.
Like they've got to be like hazardously taken care of. So lithium batteries will be the same type of thing, but they're a way to get us to a certain point. When all this money, like the 150 million, is coming into the industry, that's the type of thing where more and more of that stuff happens. More and more investment capital comes in, more and more revenue, more and more GDP, all that stuff from e-bikes, and then from accessories, and then from just all, it could be tourism, jobs, shops, like the economy that builds off it. When all that type of stuff happens, that's where money and more money can go into R&D to find better batteries. And automobiles are really going to lead that, to where battery technology for automobiles, that's going to be the driving force in e-bikes, home, home energy for the future, for everything. Basically, there will be different, more environmentally friendly materials and batteries, and it could be carbon tubes or just things that are more readily and easily available. Right. But it's going to be things that you have to get to that point. You have to have that economy, right? Remember, we're capitalists. You got to have that money to draw money in. If people don't see the budding, only so many people want to get involved early. But it's like once something takes off, the big capital starts to come in. And then everybody, just like anything else, like everybody buying an e-bike, once everybody starts investing in an e-bike company, then all the investment capital is going to be like, oh, we got to find an e-bike company to invest in. And I mean, that's the type of stuff that will happen, and it's going to drive innovation. But I think ultimately it leads with automobiles. Yeah. We use the same battery cells that automobiles use. So in 10 years from now, you won't be using lithium ion batteries as the primary mode for new e-bikes. They'll still be around. Like eventually gas cars in 10 years, 15 years won't be the primary new vehicle out there, but there'll still be gas cars out there, and there'll still be a massive economy to provide them gas and to work on them and stuff like that. It'll be the same with e-bikes. There'll still be lithium ion batteries out there. Still be companies that make them, but the new bikes that come out will be some other battery technology that will, they'll be able to do 150, 200 miles. Even right now with a lithium ion battery, we're 0.84 kilowatts. Is that right? Yeah, we're 0.84 kilowatts. Okay. 0.84 kilowatt hours is a full charge on our battery. Go look at your electric bill and see how much you pay per kilowatt hour. It's probably 10 cents.
So cheap, yeah.
It could be 8 cents, could be 12 cents. So you're talking 10 cents is what it costs you to fully charge that battery to go, say, 45 miles. Yeah. Okay? At $2.50 a gallon of gas, that's like going over 1,000 miles per gallon.
Holy crap.
The same cost.
That's pretty awesome.
That's where we're at with lithium. Imagine when we come to something else and we start. So that's where we are right now. Yep. But it's a capacity thing. It's a capacity thing. Yeah. So we need to get to where we have cells or some other medium that can hold a lot more energy. Yeah. Or have some way to recharge it on the fly or things like that. A cleaner way to generate it without having lithium mines. And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but going back earlier, like, wouldn't you rather them have lithium mines in China than all over the place in America?
That's true. I get you.
These are the reasons I don't have. Yeah. I get away from the political right and left sides on the stuff. I just think logically about it. I've got experience now dealing with it, to where I have a different opinion of stuff, and it's a neutral opinion. It's from a capitalist, small business perspective, long run. Taking money, you have to account for money, but just knowing the way the rules work, right? What's the most practical to get to where we want to be? So, okay, cool. What do we got? That's it.
Don't see any hydrogen for cars, fill up easier, fast water vapor exhaust. That'd be cool. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, like with, you know, like the EV world taking off now, like it's just going to evolve a lot faster than before with batteries getting better.
Yeah, it's a whole new economy, man. You gotta have new things that pop up for the wheel to spin bigger.
Yeah.
And this is just, it's massive we always got to invent new ways to have great economic impact and create just a whole new microeconomy, basically, to keep things moving forward and to keep things prosperous and to create jobs. And that's the type of thing that's massive enough just by changing an entire industry. And that's also, ironically, what kept it from ever changing in the past, is it wasn't advanced enough where it could really blow up. It would have cannibalized on so many different parts of the economy. If like think about 100 years plus ago when they actually had electric cars, or when Tesla had the ideas to basically give what could have been free power. It was stopped by J.P. Morgan, or I can't remember exactly who employed him, but he basically crushed all his stuff because he's like, yeah, this would destroy
the economy.
Yeah, exactly. So capitalism works two ways. When you have the money and you have the influence, you can stop competition. Basic Atlas Shrugged. Great book if you haven't read that. But that's how capitalism with democracy works. As people who have money and power can stop innovation.
Right.
And right now we're in a position where you've got people with money and power who want innovation more than, or they've basically made the people who are already in that position where they can't stop it, they can't deny it. Once again, a strength of capitalism. Things burn to ashes, new things come up, but it's just when the impact is bigger for what's new than what it's replacing. And if that's not the case, it doesn't happen. So e-bikes are going to be huge, people. Get yours.
And Eric Roy wants to know, when should he order a bike for June 2021? Should that be in like April? Order your Wicked in April and get it by June?
Yeah, I would give yourself 2 months. So we get really slammed basically starting the second or third week of February, and we'll be slammed till September. So depending what you want, if you want something like a color bike, I would probably order it maybe a little earlier. If you're doing custom, I would give it 6 to 8 weeks. If you're just ordering a black bike or something like that, I'm not doing anything, then I think we're going to have some more inventory. I got a lot of bikes coming,
awesome.
Throughout the summer, but right now, yeah, it's going to be middle of April before we've got our first batch for this year.
Yeah, but Eric, it doesn't hurt to order it now. That way you can, if you do want it custom, you can get that all out of the way. And then
yeah, if you got the money to do it, I'd go ahead and do it. If it's waiting for money and stuff like that, then just order it whenever you can.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're gonna have financing, but it's a pain in the butt.
What bike racks work for the Wicked Thumb? Would any fat tire bike rack work for it?
Nah, it's the shape. So I couldn't really tell you. We've never gone through and tried to size up a bike rack. We have our own. So
yeah, if you have a motorcycle bike rack, that would work, because
if you have something that has the same angle as our chainstays, yeah, but ours will be we've got we'll have them in April. So if you need one, just you can place an order online, now, and then you'll get one in April, or you can roll the dice and hope there's still some left in April.
Yeah. Get it now, bro. Get it now.
I think they're $150 maybe.
You guys have any more questions for us?
We stuck to 30 minutes again, man. I think
we went to 2 hours this time.
Damn.
Great book, Shreddie. Yeah, Ron, send me that book later. I'll have to check it out. I think I want 8 bars, but I was wondering if I should. Hey, that's up to you, Eric. Like he said, they have like the lower 8 bars or like the higher 8 bars. So you got like 2 to choose from.
Yeah, I would do. I think what were you, Eric? Like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". I would do the tall apes. Yeah, Atlas Shrugged, man. I read that book at the best time too. I read it right during the financial crisis.
Yeah,
like 09-ish, 08, 09. Great time to read it. Anytime's a great time to read it, but for me, it was like great timing. Because you could see so much of that shit in like real life.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you want a bike in April, order it. If you got any questions, call us 888-531-9311. Email us through the form on the site. Any question you can think of. There's somebody here to talk to you. And then yeah, looking forward to nice weather. What Shreddie's got for videos coming up, man.
I'm doing one tomorrow.
Range tests and
beach rides. See how it performs on the beach. I was thinking of either doing a full throttle. Like, what do you guys think? Should I do a full throttle range test tomorrow? It's gonna be 70 degrees, or should I ride on a beach and just show you guys how it handles and how much range I could probably get on the beach? That thing crushes it on the beach, by the way, guys. Like, it's insane what that bike can get you through on the beach. But yeah, I'll figure it out tomorrow.
I'd say you should go do like a pedal assist 1 range test. See if you can do like 70 miles tomorrow.
I'm gonna do that, but I need to get ready. I got like that winter fat going on. I need to get prepared for that one. And then tomorrow we're actually selling the Blue Huck. We actually sold it, so we're gonna go deliver it in New Jersey.
Oh, sweet.
So our first sale. We don't even have a shop yet.
Nice, man. Awesome, buddy. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, man. Assist 5.
That thing is pretty sick, man.
Thanks, dude. I can't wait to open up the shop and just get more bikes and different stuff in there, and see how many more friends I could make around here.
Hell yeah.
Get people more on e-bikes. Full throttle range test. Batman of Spokane wants to see.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
We'll see. I'll probably
do all of them, man. Every gear or every pedal assist level, or
I'll be
just
doing
whatever.
That. 1 through 5, and then I'll do all full throttle. And guys, if you guys are interested in getting a Wicked Thumb, make sure you guys use code Shreddie100, and I'm giving you $100 off. It's like me just throwing $100 in your pocket.
It is, man.
So definitely, if you guys are looking for Wicked Thumb, check out the link down below. I got all the links down below. Check out all their bikes they have to offer right now. And then don't forget, they're going to be having a 500-watt model coming very soon, right? If that's not out yet, right?
Be here in April.
500-watt
mechanical brake, 14 amp hour battery. So probably 25-mile range, 25 to 35.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna probably try to promote that like around for rentals and stuff.
Cool. That's what we need around here on our shop once a beach season opens.
Yeah, well, because around the beach you don't need to go over 20 miles an hour. It's limited to 20, no throttle, just pedal assist. You can add a throttle option, $100. It's $19.99. And black. You can have white walls for $200.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then down the line, like you could always upgrade to a bigger battery. But yeah, it'll be great for stuff like that, where like you're in a spot where you're never going to do more than 20 miles an hour. And yeah, $19.99 shit.
Perfect rentals, yeah.
Yeah, great for rental fleet, like maybe Brian or some guys like that. Like put 5 of them out front and rent them.
Yep.
Oh. Or shit, you too. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the end of our Wicked Wednesdays, and we'll be back on another one next week. Like I said, anytime you guys have any ideas for a Wicked Wednesday, leave them down in the comments or send me a message or even send Wicked Ron a message and just let us know what you guys want to hear about. It'd be awesome. Do any video as long as it's an e-bike. Thanks, but I like Wicked Thumb. Awesome, Eric. Hopefully you'll be on a Wicked Thumb very soon, brother.
Thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon there, Eric. Thank you, Shreddie. Enjoy your riding, man.
That was a lot of fun. Guys, thanks for joining. We had a blast. And we will see you on the next Wicked Wednesday, guys. All right?
Cool. We'll see you in 2 weeks, guys.
Later, guys. Okay.
Take care, buddy. You can stay on.
Yeah, it's going to stay. Ending is